about a hardcover book that connotes authority, sourcing, evidence. It's a symbolism imprinted in your developing brain from your first encounter with Encyclopedia Brown. And therein lies the problem. Our third story on the countdown, Barack Obama's campaign facing off against Jerome Corsi, who penned Unfit for Command, igniting the Swift Boat campaign against John Kerry in 2004. Not to mention his last book-length crusade against Bush's secret plan to merge the U.S. into Mexico. Yeah, whatever. True to form, Corsi's new trashy tome has posted a forceful and lengthy response from Obama's campaign, a 40-page document rebutting no fewer than 50 of Corsi's lies. Because we could all use some comic relief at the end of a long week, here are 6 of our favorites. First up, quote, "Nowhere in the autobiography does Obama disclose that his wife-to-be accompanied him to Africa on the 1992 trip." Corsi must have skipped page 439 in Dreams from My Father. Next up, Obama devotes the entire second chapter of his autobiography to his time in Indonesia, but makes no reference to Maya's birth. Then what's that on page 47? Mother, Lolo, and look, Maya. Next, Obama didn't dedicate the book to his mother, father, or Indonesian stepfather. Missing from the dedication are the grandparents who raised him in Hawaii. Roman numeral 17, it is to my family that I owe the deepest gratitude and to whom I dedicate this book. Next, according to the blog, his religion was listed as Islam. Which blog? Not the issue here. Fact is, Obama's parents registered his father's faith, not his own. Next, Mr. Corsi, the year 1995 was a banner one for Obama. He had just married Michelle and the couple bought a Hyde Park condo, the first home Obama ever owned. Wrong again. The wedding was in 1992. The real estate purchase was in 1993. Dope. Also, Corsi cites right-wing blogger Ron Kessler's claim that he and Obama were present at one lavishly quoted controversial Jeremiah Wright sermon. Sorry there again, Jerome. Obama was actually giving a speech in Florida that afternoon and did not attend Wright's church that day. When we need to talk political public relations, we turn to Chris Kofinas, Democratic strategist and one-time communications director for John Edwards. Chris, I hope that Jerome Corsi fact-checking didn't make your eyes roll back in your head. I'm sorry.
Well, it was definitely a very good read. I mean, what's amazing about this is when you look at Corsi. I mean, this is a fellow who's become the poster child for lies and smears. I mean, he did it in 2004 against Senator Kerry, and he's doing it again. I would say he should be ashamed, but unfortunately, I'm not sure he has a soul, because evidently he sold his soul in order to get this book published. I mean, it's just the tragic irony here is, I think the Obama campaign did a very smart thing. They didn't just go out there and say, these were lies and falsehoods. They went out in excruciating detail and made it very clear all the various mistakes, falsehoods, and gross distortions in this book. It's unfortunate that this kind of stuff gets any press attention, but it's the reality of kind of the world that we live in, that this book is being pushed by the right wing as heavily as it is.
Well, they learned in 2004 that nobody has the luxury of ignoring these things anymore if you want to take account of their political impact. The big question, though, and I suppose this is an unknown, but I would love your take on it, does fact-checking really matter? Are the rumors more potent than the facts in any case? Are they really counting on people to read a 40-page PDF document?
The facts do matter, and it may sound Pollyannish to some, but I think the last thing you want to do is just go out there in some kind of whimsical way and say this is a book that is just all lies. I mean, what they did, and I think this is a very smart move, they went out there and dissected that book and proved that a guy that goes out there and says the federal government was behind 9/11, a guy that goes out there and smears the Catholic Church and the Pope, the guy that's gone out there and said all these misogynistic things, has not written a book with any credibility, the exact opposite. And what they've done is not only, I think, discredit this book, but help discredit this author, and I use that term very loosely.
Chris, I have a hard question for you here. Last night on this program, I sat here in Keith's chair and I proclaimed earnestly that the Obama campaign was shooting back with both barrels. The 40-page response, I quoted their phrase that they said they'd use all means at their disposal to push back against this. That was 24 hours ago. Today, honestly, they essentially dropped it. They did a big pushback announcement, but then today, not much actual pushback. What do you make of that?
Well, listen, the Obama campaign is in a catch-22, and I understand that. I mean, the reality here is if you go you go out there and you really unload both barrels every single day, you actually help make it more news, if you will. Now, the other side is you also don't want to ignore it. I think they kind of broken this down into steps. I mean, step one was obviously putting out the booklet, and discrediting all these falsehoods. Very smart thing to do. I think step two is, obviously mobilizing their surrogates and others that are going out there and have gone out there to discredit this author and this book. And I think step three, and I think this is probably the next phase of this, and I would recommend it, is to hit John McCain and hit him hard. I mean, John McCain went out there, as we all know, and said he was going to run an honorable campaign. Well, this is not an honorable thing, what this book is doing. And he should go out there and publicly disavow and condemn it. And if he doesn't, it really is a statement as to who he really is and what kind of candidate he's become.
Last question, Chris. It's about one very specific surrogate for the Obama campaign. John Kerry is fighting back with his own blog in response to this. And, of course, there's symbolism there because of Kerry himself being swift-voted. But there is also this practical decision to have a surrogate do this work. Is Kerry the right guy to do this for Obama?
Yeah, it's the right call. I mean, unfortunately, Senator Kerry knows better than anyone the consequences of being swift-voted and not responding very significantly and vigorously. So I think it's a very smart thing that they're utilizing him in this fashion. I think the other part to it, and this I think is very key, it's going to really make it very clear to the base, the stakes in this election, and that you've got to fight back and you've got to hit back with extreme prejudice. This is not the end. This is not going to be the end of the tax. Unfortunately, just the beginning. But that's the way it is.
Chris Kofinas, former communications director for the Edwards campaign. Thanks for joining us, Chris.
Thanks, Rachel.